From each happily ever after, every wish upon a star. Let's break down the movies that shaped who we are. From memory lane to now and everything in between. The most famous of films to the ones we've never seen. Decade by decade, all the times we laughed and cried, and with a little pixie dust, they will all take flight. Reliving the feelings, and we're trying our very best. And if they mean the same to you, please be our guest. So hop aboard, we would love to have you as we hang with a certain mouth, the whole gang too. If you love nostalgia stuff, we hope this does the trick. Thanks for joining us as we dip out the magic.
Hi, and welcome to the first official episode of the Deep Diving the Magic podcast. I'm KJ.
And I'm Jeffrey. And as we stated in our pilot, we are both lovers of all things Disney, especially the movies. So what better way to journey through the films that helped raise us than by sharing them with all of you? This will include all the feature-length films, including the sequels, the director VHS tapes, and the Disney Channel films, in order. We will be doing one film per episode with a list of almost 700 releases and growing. Grab your popcorn because this may take a while.
We may have some special guests along the way, and I'm sure that there will be special appearance from the real prince and princess of our house, our cat and our dog.
You know, for the amount of things that we know about the Disney company, it is the same amount of things that we unfortunately do not know about the world of recording and podcasting. So we'll be learning as we go. So thank you for hanging out. And the last thing before we dive in, at the end of every episode, we will adjust our ever-growing, and at the end, hopefully definitive, top 10 lists of all the Disney feature films, which we'll be calling the List Upon a Star. So today we're going to be starting off with the movie that started it all. And that film is KJ?
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
So Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was released December 21st, 1937. This is the film that kind of started it all for a lot of things. It was the first animated feature-length film. It was Walt Disney's Go Big or Go Home. And a lot of things that we love, we can thank for the success of this film. Feel with it how you want to feel with it. And trust me, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna have our loves, have our not loves, but it did a lot. And considering that this was the first film, and it was made in the mid to late 1930s, the animation in this film, it's beautiful. But I know you like to read a quick synopsis, and we can get chit-chatting about the film.
So the quick synopsis basically says that Snow White was exiled into a dangerous forest by her wicked stepmother, the evil queen. The princess is rescued by 7 dwarf miners who take her in as part of their household.
Okay. Good. Rod. Quick synopsis of the story.
No spoilers.
That's right. Spoiler free. So before we dive in, anything that you would like to say on this or your general views?
So going back and rewatching it, I don't know if I actually ever watched it or if I just disliked it so much as a child. I just kind of erased it from my core memories. I don't remember it. Like bits and pieces, like the main part, I guess, but I don't.
No,
It wasn't one of my favorites as a kid.
Even now as an adult?
No. Still not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, but it's just definitely wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't always hold up. I guess we could say it that way.
Sure.
So it is adapted from the Grimm Brothers fairy tales, and it says so in the opening credits. And I know that you have something that you're going to dive in and say about that, but something that I would like to, I'd like to start off with, we love the Disney company and this family, and we love Walt Disney. And there is something that a little sentimental thing in the beginning that does, it is a quote from Walt from the original release of the film that does say, my sincere appreciation to the members of my staff whose loyalty and creative endeavor made possible this production from Walt Disney. And that just means a lot, knowing what he was going through and how he had to put all those chips on the table to make this movie. What you got over there?
So like you were saying, it did come from the Grimm Brothers fairy tales. most experts agree that Snow White comes from Germany. It's a classic story from the Grimm brothers. It's the original German tale. The evil queen is actually named Queen Grimalkinde. Could I, I could be butchering that name. I have no idea. Which would give away to its German heritage. It's, I guess, technically supposed to be taking place in the Bavarian forest of Germany. There's lots of wood carvings and stuff, and I guess it kind of just gives me the vibes of walking around the German pavilion at Epcot.
Nice food.
Minus the food. I don't. No, I guess.
Yeah.
Because sometimes during the festival, I like to get the apple cake.
Yeah, that's true. But
It's not
we're
poison.
getting,
I've
we're
not
getting
died yet.
we're getting ahead of ourselves. So, you know, something else before we actually dive into the actual story that I think is amazing. Speaking of Walt Disney World, and we're going to be referencing Walt Disney World a lot because that's kind of our thing. That this film, again, you know, it was the first, and he put all his chips in one basket. Him and his 9 old men and his team that stuck by him, like I was mentioning earlier. But they used this multiplex camera that basically allowed them to add depth, to add the beauty, and the, I guess, in lack of better terms, the 3D aspect of the animation, which was unheard of. You know, it's called the multiplex camera, and I don't know if it's still there, but I know it was on display at Walt Disney World and Walt Disney Presents, and that's amazing because again, almost 100 years old.
Yeah.
So again, I know that this movie starts with the fairy tale book opening, and that's something that we're touching on a lot as we go through these movies. What would you like to start us off with?
So basically, like you said, there is a storybook opening. So you're brought into the movie like you're, I guess, gonna have the story read to you like as a kid. It's a beautiful cover. You can actually see it at the part too. I was trying to the actual this for you that's listening, it's definitely not the movie VHS tape that he's pointing at. So there is a replica of the Snow White fairy tale book that you see like opening up in the movie at the park. I always try to buy it, and Jeffrey always tries to tell me I really don't need it, or what would you do with this? And I tried to say I could take my podcast notes in it, but he said I don't really need it. So
I'll take you a tour of this house, and you'll see all the things that we needed. Not Disney World. Let's see.
So I don't have the book. Sorry. It would be beautiful to show you though.
Yeah. So again, this movie, like I said, it started all. It's definitely a movie of its time. There's a quick beginning, a long scene in the middle that doesn't really add much to the plot of the movie, and a quick end.
Yeah, I guess. So watching it now, from what I remember of it as a kid, like I said, I don't really remember a lot of it. But I guess I was kind of surprised at how fast the prince shows up in that. I don't remember him showing up at the beginning of the movie. I kind of just remember him being at the end of the movie.
Yeah, he shows up.
Yeah.
Jumps the fence.
Don't remember that at all. Don't remember that.
Gets turned down, so he leaves. Something I wrote about the prince in the beginning is that
I think he really got turned down.
I think she was just nervous.
She probably was.
She's young. Something I wrote in the beginning, speaking of her not being nervous, is that he was so charming that he even made the bird blush.
Yeah, I definitely don't remember that. I'm gonna have to maybe go back and watch that again. I don't remember the birds blushing, but maybe kind of. I don't know.
So obviously the movie starts off, and we won't dive too much into the a quick breakdown. We're gonna just really talk about it, how it made us feel, and some things that jumped out at us. But she's singing to the woodland creatures, which is something that comes up a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on her voice. That's something that, again, it is a film of its time, and I do think that there's much better able to sing princesses than her. But I'll let you cover that. But
yeah, I wasn't sold on her voice, but I also wasn't really sold on the song she was singing either. It didn't like drag me in.
Yeah, no. There's definitely some like iconic.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Like,
I don't think it's my favorite song.
Yeah. something else that I think was wild is about the structure of the movie is right out at the beginning after we meet Snow and we meet everything, we do meet the Queen, and she is talking to her favorite mirror, and
The
she
magic mirror.
what do you mean?
Her magic mirror. Not her mirror.
Is that what she says in the movie? Her magic mirror.
She says magic mirror. Everybody else thinks she says mirror. It's definitely magic mirror.
Huh. So, she asks about who's the fairest of them all, and when she doesn't get her answer that she likes, she gets the huntsman involved real early. The huntsman gets a point. I mean, we're talking right in the beginning of the movie. Like they waste no time diving right into it.
Yeah, I don't remember that being that fast either. Like we said, the magic mirror scene has the huntsman go after her. She runs away in the Bavarian forest. She's trying to hide because I don't remember what was it, a pig part that he took back to her, because the queen wanted.
Yeah, well,
the queen
I
wanted
could be getting it
her.
mixed up with something else, but it was a horse of a steed.
Oh, that wasn't Once Upon a Time.
Well, it isn't Once Upon a Time.
I don't know. Some animal part is what he takes back, because the queen, I guess, for proof, wanted her heart that she was going to keep in a box. I don't remember that. I do remember it coming from Once Upon a Time, but I don't remember that actually being in the movie. So I did kind of think that was pretty creepy for a child's movie. But I guess technically it wasn't really a child's movie when it was brought out in theaters.
Yeah, so she does run away from the huntsman, who does end up sparing her, like you said, with the false heart. But something that I thought that jumped out of me was that, like a lot of Disney movies to come, when she's running through the forest, it's absolutely terrifying. Everything in that she's literally afraid of everything in that forest, every animal, same animals that she was just singing to. She's terrified of while she's running through.
Well, she's alone.
Exactly.
She's like completely alone. So,
but on the contrary, she's suddenly okay with those same exact animals that just scared her, and she trusts them to show her a safe place to sleep.
Yeah. So she finds a safe place to sleep, a house. Imagine that. She finds a house out in the middle of nowhere, and she goes into the house. The house is a complete disaster. There are dishes everywhere. It's dusty. Beds are not made. It's kind of gross. And she cleans it. She cleans the house.
She does what she knows.
Yeah, and she makes dinner because she is hoping that whoever lives there, when they come home, they're going to let her stay there because she's going to help take care of them. She's going to be their mother figure because the beds are little, so she thinks it's children.
So then we meet the Dwarfs.
Yeah.
Our 7 little friends, the Dwarfs. And they had, they work in the mines. They whistle while they work. To put it bluntly, they that's a good song. Talk about songs not
It is.
not even, that's a good song. So the Dwarfs, they leave after they whistle and they hi-ho their way after work, and they make their way home, and they of course discover that that their house is open.
Yeah.
And you know what they said when they discovered that the house was open? They said Jiminy Cricket.
They did.
Which is definitely a sign of the future of something to come.
Easter egg.
Hey, we're only there. So I know you mentioned earlier, but I want to ask, how upset would you be after you work? I work a lot, you work a lot. We both have taxing jobs, but imagine if we worked in the mines. It's hot outside today. Imagine if we worked in the mines, and you worked a full day with your 6 sweaty friends, and you get home, and your house is just nice and clean for you. Would you be mad?
No. I mean, if anybody wants to sneak into our house, make us dinner, clean our house, we'd have a spare bedroom.
Well, what she ends up doing to make him okay with it is that she offers him gooseberry pie.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what a gooseberry?
Yeah, is that a real thing?
I don't know.
I don't know. I had no idea. Um, at some point while she's cooking, or maybe like while they're there, it gets brought up dumplings, like, and they were talking about dumplings, and one of my favorite things is apple dumplings.
Mm.
And I guess apples being so prevalent in this movie, um, I kind of like chuckled to myself and I was like, wouldn't it be bad if she had already met the evil queen and had the evil like poison apple and made apple dumplings and then like all of them went to sleep?
Oh, the end. An even shorter synopsis. But hey, we'll get there.
Yeah.
So they end up. She ends up falling asleep before the dwarfs get home.
Yeah.
Across their beds. Very Goldilocks
So she'll
style. So when they finally discover that there's somebody upstairs, they think it's a monster, and they try to figure out who's going to go up the stairs.
Yeah, they send my favorite little Dopey. They're so mean to him. And they send Dopey up there to like go figure out who's up in there in their bedroom. And I don't know why you'd send Dopey. I really don't.
So do you think that the reason that he is dopey is because the dwarfs actually beat him like they beat him this time when they thought he was the monster after the investigation?
I have no idea. I think he's adorable. I love him. He's just cute. I think they should be nice to him. I don't know.
I mean, he's the one that went up there. He is greater than most.
Yeah, but I don't know. Well, okay, so he does go and finds her. He gets scared to death though, and comes back down the stairs
With that poor turtle. I didn't touch on the turtle earlier, but there's a poor turtle that just can't catch a break.
I forgot about the turtle. Yeah, and then he falls down the steps, scares all the other dwarfs, and then she comes. Oh.
So they realize that she's a lovely.
But then she realizes there's dwarfs; they're not children.
Yeah, and they realize that she's a lovely young lady.
Mm-hmm. And they're all pretty sold on her.
Yeah,
they're all pretty sold on her, except for Grumpy. Grumpy is not having her, and I thought it was cute when she first met them. She was guessing their names by who they were, and she left him to last. And she's like, and he would be Grumpy. And of course, he would be Grumpy because he's not liking her being in the house. He's not liking her being in the bed. I don't think he was happy that she cleaned the house.
No. No. So after they finally discover Snow, there's that famous scene with Bashful playing with his beard, and he's got the red face, and he's being bashful. And I have to tell you, that's my number one most used meme at work. I use it all the time.
Are you sure?
I mean, I use it a lot.
It's not Scrooge McDuck.
I mean, I do use Scrooge McDuck a lot. But again, we'll come back on that one.
I'm pretty sure he's one.
I use Scrooge McDuck a lot too.
So
as we all know, we the biggest part of this movie after this is turning into they're just playing around. They're singing. They're having a grand old time once they accept each other. The woodland creatures are involved, and it's just a good time. It's just a silly, happy, good time.
Oh yeah, and then they all are like, "Oh, you can sleep in our bed." So then they're gonna let her sleep in the bed, and they all kind of just like sleep wherever they can downstairs. And Snow White like gets down on her knees beside the bed to pray before she goes to sleep, and she prays that Grumpy will like her. And I thought that was cute. And the other cute part was, I'm pretty sure it was Dopey that actually found the best spot to sleep, and then they all kind of like push him out because they're never nice to him.
He's a smile.
They're never nice to him.
So in the meantime, while all of this excitement is happening, the queen finds out that it's not really Snow White's heart, and she
dare the huntsman take her out.
She begins to.
You think she killed him?
I mean, they don't say. Once upon a time, again, that's a different podcast for a different time.
I bet she killed him.
So we'll have to check their chest of hearts. So whatever. She finds out that it wasn't really her heart, so she gets a plan to what she's gonna do to to trick the dwarfs into thinking that she's dead, so that they would bury her alive. So she goes down into her lair where she has a magic book and potions, and she transforms herself into the hag. Actually, that's a very beautiful scene, like animation wise, of that transition. But something that I always thought was really funny was, if she has the power and the magic to make herself the hag, why didn't she just make herself the fairest one of all and save herself all that? So,
Because the movie would have been a lot faster, kind of like if she made apple dumplings.
Part two.
Part two.
Did you notice anything else that you wanted to add?
So Snow White basically is trying to be like the motherly figure of the dwarfs, so they'll let her stay. She makes them dinner. She gets the table set and everything, but she makes them go wash up. They go outside to go wash up in what looks like a horse trough or something. And they're all washing with soap. They send poor little Dopey back to get his own little bar of soap, although there's like multiple bars of soap. Dopey did not have to go get his own little bar of soap, but they made him go do that. And this entire time, I was so irked because Doc did not wash himself one time. Never.
He's a doctor. That's gross.
He did not wash himself at all. Everybody else washed himself, but he did not. Grumpy did not want to. I'm pretty sure they washed him. I'm pretty sure they liked him. But he was clean. Not like Doc. Yeah. And then they were able to eat. Went to bed. Woke up the next day. We're gonna go work in the mines.
She kisses him on the forehead.
She does, and it was so cute
because
no, only Dopey. Dopey kept running back around, so he kept getting extra kisses on the head. I mean, he's not that smart, but he's pretty smart. He's cute. And before they leave, Doc warns her to like beware of strangers. They're all aware of like what the queen did. And that's why, like, she's living with them, obviously. And they're like, well, be aware of strangers. And then even Grumpy, like, because he starts to warm up to her, you can definitely tell. Because he, like, warns her not to let anybody in the house, not to let anything in the house. I mean, she's been warned multiple times. But, I mean, they go off to work. She's there at home alone playing mama. So something that
we did jump ahead. We did jump over the when they were all dancing and playing music and having a good time after dinner. And something that I noticed something. I always had a memory growing up that Dopey was on multiple dwarfs' shoulders.
No.
But he's only on Sneezy's shoulder.
He's only on one. Yeah. And something else that bothered me about that was like when you go ride the ride at Disney and you see that scene at the very end, right before you get off the ride. And the evil queen is like sitting outside the door waiting to like knock on the door with her little apples. And it's like, that's not how that happens. Like the dwarfs obviously weren't at home when she was there. I mean, before I re-watched it for this episode, I obviously thought that's how it happened. But that is not how it happens.
Speaking of Walt Disney World, though,
I did not remember about that at all.
The pipes of Grumpy's organ look like the totems, which should have GP.
Yeah.
In that scene,
yeah, the Bavarian wood carvings. I can see that.
So again, now they're on their way to work. They got their kisses on the forehead, and they're doing their thing. And Snow is going about her day when who shows up?
I don't know. I'm just kidding. So the evil queen in hag form shows up as this little old lady She's knocking on the door. And even though she's been warned by how many people now,
And she's so menacing. She's so menacing.
Yeah, she talks to this lady. The lady tells her, "Oh, you've got to try my apples. They're so great. They're the best." And then she says, "I've got this magic wishing apple. I don't know. I guess you're a young princess that's lost everything. You're living out in the middle of nowhere with dwarfs. Maybe you think I'm going to take this wishing apple. I'm going to make a wish. Maybe she's going to wish for everything to go back the way it was. I no idea. And the evil queen not to hate her or something. No idea.
Or maybe it was to get her the prayer that get drunk in the record.
Maybe I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, for some reason, she thinks it's a good idea to follow the queen's advice of make a wish and take a bite. So she bites into the apple, and then she basically, I guess, is supposed to just be asleep. She's not really supposed to be dead. I guess as a child, I thought it was supposed to kill her. I don't know. I guess I thought that the kiss was supposed to bring her back to life, but I guess it was just actually supposed to make her fall into a deep sleep so that way they would mourn her and bury her alive. So I guess the queen wasn't actually going to kill her. It would have been the dwarfs that would have killed her because they would have buried her alive. But they decided not to bury her. They just left her in a clear coffin, casket, I don't know whatever you call it.
So
yeah.
The hag comes up to the window, telling about how everything that KJ just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I always thought was funny on this rewatch was she talks about how great her apples are,
mm-hmm.
but she has no teeth. So I have absolutely no idea how she would even eat them to know.
Applesauce.
So in applesauce. In very Disney fashion, this is something that I'll be touching on a lot on upcoming movies, is whenever they need a scene to show that it's stressful or that it's sad or that it's just out of the normal happily ever after, it storms and it rains. So after she eats the apple, instantly it starts to,
I feel strange.
Yeah,
that's what she said after she eats the apple.
She feels strange, and instantly it starts to storm. The woodland creatures go and notify the dwarfs in the mine. But I gotta tell you, this queen who jeopardized her fairest of them all looks to become this hag had absolutely zero time to celebrate.
So, like, time out. So she makes herself into this ugly hag. Do you think it's reversible? Like after she,
maybe she needed first true love's kiss. I'm not sure. So, but either way, we don't find out.
It's the true love's kiss.
I don't know. We don't.
And it's not even the true love's kiss.
No.
Actually, I took a screenshot of it when we were watching it, like a little picture, because I thought, like you said, true love's kiss, like we're always taught true love's kiss. And in the book, it actually says first love's kiss, or the movie, but it actually shows it like on her little spell when she's like making the spell with her scary little finger. Yeah, it says love's first kiss, not true love's kiss.
Huh.
Maybe the other princess says it's first love's kiss. I don't know, or true love's kiss, but this was first love's kiss.
So regardless of if she would have got turned back or any kind of kiss, she gets zero time to celebrate. She cons her way into getting this apple eaten, and then instantly the apple gets bit, the storm starts, the dwarfs chase, lightning, fall,
I
dead.
don't remember her attacking the dwarfs though.
Yeah.
Like I don't really remember that scene at all. And I definitely don't remember her falling off a cliff because I was like, wow, that's it. Like
it's quick. Like I was saying earlier, was the majority of the movie is just the middle with the songs and the dinner and the stories and the good time. Mm-hmm. And it, I guess, what's the term? Goes from 0 to 60 very fast, where the apple gets bit and the queen's dead in a half a scene later. Yeah. Again, she falls off the. It's a pretty gruesome death, actually. The lightning strikes.
Yeah, like I literally, when we watched it, I was kind of blown away by that. I did not remember it happening.
Yeah, there used to be a ride at Walt Disney World called Snow White's Scary Adventure, and guys,
is it still at Disneyland?
I do believe or as some we'll have to flip that back. So.
I didn't have to watch that. I didn't remember that being the way it was.
So she dies, as we said, and everybody thinks that Snow is also dead.
Oh,
But
speaking of rain, like you said, it's raining. She's dead. Oh yeah, there was vultures. I got really upset with the dwarfs for not letting the animals come into the house. I mean, they helped clean my house with Snow White and everything, but
they
like,
notified them.
yeah, but they also helped Snow White
Yeah.
clean the house. Like they've been in the house, but they think she's dead. They're mourning her inside the house. It's still raining heavily, and they don't let the woodland creatures into the house. They make them stand outside in the rain, and they're all mourning Snow White too.
Because they think she's dead.
Yeah.
So I have to say though, is when they have her out on her deathbed, that is it's probably the most beautiful scene of the whole movie. It's like
It
a
is.
picture.
Yeah.
You know, there's the snow and the flower and the script. I know that you took a screenshot yourself because it was just a very beautiful part of the movie. And it's something that they use on current marketing and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. There was a spot in the movie, like some script on there that said the prince who had searched far and wide heard of a maiden who slept in the glass coffin. So maybe he thought to himself that was the person who heard singing.
Well, yeah, because I skipped this part earlier, but in the beginning he is passing by and he hears her singing and he's drawn to leave the bird that he's making blush and he's drawn to hop the fence and see who it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yet he has absolutely no he can't hear when every single animal in the entire forest is also singing with her.
Yeah.
So he must have heard somehow.
And like there was a section in there, like you said, like they left her in like the coffin scene or whatever. The reason why the dwarfs didn't bury her was because it said so beautiful even in death. The dwarfs could not find it in their hearts to bury her. So it's like, you're so beautiful, we're not gonna bury you. Thank God she wasn't ugly, because she would have been buried alive. I guess, but yeah. So I guess there's a reason why they didn't bury her and they left her in the glass coffin.
So the prince searches far and wide for this child that he just met for a little bit. The line between creepy and love is a thin one in fairy tales.
Yeah, I guess so.
But he does find her, and they do recreate the. They have their first kiss scene, which is recreated perfectly in that Once Upon a Time.
Love's first kiss.
Love's first kiss that they do recreate perfectly in the Once Upon a Time TV show that we're going to talk about a lot. That's a different podcast. That's a great show, though. Watch it. But so they kiss. We all know what happens. But I have to say, KJ, let me get this straight. She meets this dude.
Mm-hmm.
She runs away from him in the beginning. Maybe she's nervous. Maybe she's a child.
Yeah.
Whatever. She gets hunted in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
She hides.
Mm-hmm.
But then she gets looked after, taken in, fought for, avenged for by these dwarfs.
Mm-hmm. Dopey and grumpy. They're my favorite.
They protect her even after she dies an apple-filled death.
Not Doc, though, because he doesn't wash his hands.
But this dude comes back, kisses her probably still apple-tasting lips.
Mm.
She wakes up to find out that the queen is dead. So she's next in line for the crown. Mm-hmm. And she just straight up leaves these doors behind and goes with this dude. Like, thanks.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So like obviously watching it, I am a fan of conspiracies. I don't know. That's my thing. But there was a conspiracy with the prince.
Okay.
And that he was actually supposed to be representing death. So like I guess technically like she really is supposed to be dead. And she didn't really wake up when he kissed her. Like that was him like coming to get her on the white horse and take her away to the afterlife. So the prince shows up with his white horse. It was a white horse. And the ending scene of it is this beautiful golden looking castle. It's like-
Sunset Castle music.
Yeah. but supposedly like that's supposed to be like the afterlife, and that's why it's so bright and well,
Well, we're not
death
gonna,
taking her away
we're not going to touch on that because
on a
this is,
white horse.
this is the movie that started the Disney feature films, not White Horse to the afterlife, the feature film. So
We'll let you believe whatever
Yeah.
you want to believe.
So again, that scene that you were talking about, oh, it is beautiful.
It
And it's
is.
very
It
impressive
is.
that again, this movie was filmed almost 100 years ago. And
Yeah.
It's beautiful. So, they lived happily ever after.
Mhm.
The book closes.
Story.
So again, believe what you, or think what you want to think about how it holds up. But I think it was a very strong first movie. Imagine how many minds it blew when some people first saw it and deserving all those awards.
It probably did. I mean, I don't think from like everything we've watched, nobody ever really thought that like an animated movie was gonna be as big as it was.
Yeah, and it started everything that we love. I mean, I don't want to say started. There was Silly Symphonies, there was shorts,
Yeah.
there was Mickey Mouse, but it really did spearhead a lot.
Yeah, the first
Happily ever after.
fully feature film.
So how would you rate this movie?
So I rated it a 6 out of 10. It wasn't my favorite. It's not terrible. I wouldn't mind watching it again, but 6 out of 10. I think IMDb rated it a 7.6 out of 10.
So right there.
Overall.
Yeah, I would say I'm pretty much in the same ballpark. On impact of things that I love, it's a 10 out of 10 for sure. But on the movie itself, a 6 or 7 out of 10.
Mhm.
It's a strong first movie. Thank you, Walt. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I just saw this thing online the other day and it was like you said, it starts everything out. And it was talking about like it was a picture of all the princesses, all the Disney princesses from like present to like the very beginning with Snow White. But it had them like at the age they would be now. And it had like Snow White, like obviously up there, 80s and stuff.
100
And
years
she's
old.
like white hair. Well, this was it. The time it was made, it wasn't quite like
Yeah.
at the current time. So it had like her in her 80s with the white hair, and it had like Cinderella standing there behind her, obviously a little older, and Aurora also a little older. But I thought it was cute because it had like Anna and Elsa being like 8 years old, and it had Moana being 5. But I thought that's really cool because they had like her sitting in the middle,
Mhm.
like she's the one that started it all.
It's wonderful. So,
I'll show it to
they
you sometime.
yeah, please. They took the risk and it worked out. And it's a strong first movie.
Mhm.
We're gonna grow from there. Whether you had seen it when you were younger or not, I have vivid
I
memories.
really don't know. Maybe I just knew the premise of it. Maybe I never saw it. I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, there's a very, very large movie coming up that I had never seen before that you saw. So we'll get there on that one. So again, strong first movie. We do like to end the episode with this list upon a star, which is going to eventually be our definitive top 10 list. 700 movies from now, but it's going to be our top 10 list. So of course, with this being the first movie, this is by default our number one movie. So
Probably the first time we're actually going to agree.
yeah, I would say not only that, congratulations Snow White for currently being the number one first movie. So we'll throw it up there for that. So do you have anything that you would like to add before we dive into what's next?
I don't think so.
So again, thank you for watching our first episode. Sorry that again we're learning what we're doing.
Yeah.
Sorry
if this was terrible. Sorry if you didn't like it. You don't have to watch us. I mean,
well, we're happy that you did.
but we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you find us
Yes.
comical. At least.
So we had our lovely princess, our little pup, join us for a little bit.
Yeah.
But again,
Say.
this is KJ. I'm Jeffrey, and please, tell your friends, share, watch. We're on Instagram. We're on email. But before we head off, KJ, what are we watching next week?
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio. So will that change our top 10 lists? We'll see you then.
We'll see.
Thanks for joining.
Bye.